Let me just jump into the subject of discussion. I'm glad that people are coming out to discuss issues of mental health. Initially, mental health was something people really never wanted to talk about or discuss. But of recent, I think it's coming to the limelight because people are realizing that there is no health without mental health. Yeah, so let me start off by talking about what cyberbullying is. Cyberbullying can be the use of information or communication technologies, in this case, to support a deliberate or a repeated or sometimes a hostile behavior. This could be in a form of messages by an individual with an intention to cause harm or discomfort, or to even embarrass others, and can have elements of race, sexual, or other kind of stigma and discrimination acts like homophobic slurs or connotation. And we are sure we are in a world where things are moving so fast thanks to technology. It has many advantages. It has shaped and changed our lifestyles. Many achievements have been realized through technology. It has connected people. We can reach out to people far. We now call it a global villages, but it has also led to advancement in several fields: socialization, learning, productivity, business, engineering, to name it. There are so many. But as we are well aware, anything good can also have its perils if not used responsibly. Of course, technology is one of the issues that we are discussing, is cyberbullying. Now, when you look at cyberbullying, this is something that is fast growing and in the world, and it majorly targets young people, particularly children and teenagers. Reason for this that children and teenagers are usually also young people growing, trying to experiment and experience with everything else, and usually without guidance they may usually end up upset. So they are really vulnerable, and that's why they are one of the leading victims of cyber bullying. And reasons for why it is growing so hard is because the people involved in this cyber activity normally they prefer to be anonymous, and they are difficult to detect, and they usually hide behind, and they take also different forms of acts, which may include stalking, people visiting other people's websites, social media pages, and wanting to know really what takes place in their lives. And also they may engage into disseminating information, pictures, videos, or audios, and other text and other personal information, of course with a negative intention or motive. And usually they may post anything that is hateful or abusive and degrading messages to the individuals. A lot of people usually they can always check that they see in their social media accounts or inboxes that they have messages that are negative in some ways. And like we said, cyberbullying in Uganda, I would say in developing world, because in other countries it's being there are measures that are being put in place to uh, to limit its widespread. In Uganda, I think in 2019, I think about 40 people reported cases, and 61% of those were young people. And also, there are some channels which we shall look at in case you are experiencing cyberbullying and you want to be supported. And usually, when you look at cyberbullying, people use the intentions are normally to revenge, because I was also being cyberbullied, and this is also my opportunity to do it to somebody, and also other intentions to shame, and some people enjoy it as fun. I think you remember a famous picture of a young man who entered university with a plastic bag and a metallic case. It went so viral on the social media. This person his intention was to shame, although at that moment people came up and supported this man. But I think that is one of the example. Normally it can start in a simple way. Normally perpetrators, they start by trying to trick people to befriend them, as if someone cares about you, until at a point where you become vulnerable and release personal information. Or they can use other ways to steal your information by hacking into accounts, or even stealing your gadgets to access information that they can use against you. So, and once this information is shared, usually like in a community setting, you see people possibly calling you and asking, as a young person, what is happening? We see this information about you, and other acts and behaviors people can have, like maybe backbiting you, talking and murmuring about what they have seen about the individual. And this can be really upsetting to the individual, and it can also cause other challenges as we see ahead. And the reason why also cyberbullying has become rampant is because the cyberspace is unlimited. People will have so many subscribers every day. Social media can allow one to close an account or have multiple accounts. So, but also other people have scores to settle. Like I said, some people have ulterior motives of why they want to befriend you, because they want to hit back at you. And others, we are in a world where people might not be allowed to physically fight you or hurt you in some way. So that is a passive way of aggression to someone. And another reason why we have cyberbullying is because young people, when they grow, one of the challenges that they may not have, because they are not well trained on how to use technology, so they may not exhibit responsibility, accountability, and control, especially when it comes to using the internet. So other people go on to create, of course, fake accounts which they can use to cause harm psychologically to other people. And the other motives, of course, they are to gain control over someone, superiority, and I said some people usually enjoy it in one way or another. So other ways people can get information is they can steal through the record. I think we've seen several images and videos in the media where people have still through recorded others, took pictures, and then they share this personal information that can damage someone's identity, can damage a person's integrity. But also, when we talk about cyberbullying, it is not limited to only sharing information, but also cyber fraud and child pornography. These are some of the other worst forms that are effects of cyberbullying. But also in other countries, it has led to what we call cyber terrorism. So usually, what are the effects to this person? The person feels humiliated, and the person actually can have great suffering. They feel they are ashamed, they have been attacked. Unfortunately, when people fear to talk about, or young people fear to talk about such experiences, because they think when they share this to adults, they might be blamed for maybe opening up accounts and sharing personal information. So that's why they may fear sharing such problems related to cyberbullying. So, what are the consequences of cyberbullying? One, of course, it's going to cause stress to the person, and if it continues, people are going to feel to have depression, anxiety, suicidal ideations, and some people have also had suicidal attempts after experiencing cyberbullying for a very period of time. Others, they are going to be shamed and being labeled as cowards, and this is going to lead to feelings of a low self-esteem, but also aggression and frustration. But also, I've talked about the other perils, which is addiction. Problematic online use can lead to addiction. We've seen young people at night sleeping very late because they are online all the time. And also, as people scroll through social media sites, there are pop-ups, and this will put them at other risks of things like pornography. So young people, sometimes when they experience this cyberbullying, they may not talk, of course, fear for being blamed. But again, the more they share about this with colleagues, the more shame they get. So they do not feel safe to talk about it. So they tend to deal with it passively. Then what are the long-term effects? Of course, depression might continue, which might be severe, that may require hospitalization, and anxiety. But also young people might engage in other behaviors of self-harm, like hurting themselves or self-injury, to try to cope up with the psychological pain that they have. So those are, and then they may require sometimes hospitalization. Then because there have been people are online most of the time, they may experience things like migraines, sleepless nights, and other physical symptoms related to other mental disorders and anxiety. This might lead to poor performance at school, poor relationship with peers and other colleagues, and overall decline in the quality of life of the young person. What are the treatments? Normally, the first thing is report in the case of cyberbullying to concerned people. It could be your parent. Sometimes it's good to talk about it if you are at school. I think a teacher can be in position. But also we have systems in place. We can talk to the Ministry of ICT. We can talk about there's a UNICEF platform called You Report, where people can text and talk about issues that affect them in their community. But also by law, Uganda has a Computer Misuse Act of 2011 that looks at other cyber crimes like hacking, illegal transactions and laundering. All those are under, they cover cyberbullying. So that act covers cyberbullying. And then we have other experience therapies like CBT, where we help people with depression and anxiety to change thoughts about the situation they face. Sometimes we've told young people to delete their accounts completely. Yeah. So in conclusion, I would also want to talk about the challenges that have made cyberbullying a little bit hard to control. I think there are lack of skills and tools to investigate people involved in cyberbullying. There needs to be mechanisms to regulate internet use, but also training young people on how to use internet and gadgets responsibly. But also we need to train the teachers on how to spot cases of abuse. For example, if you see a young person in school isolated, as a teacher, could you try to probe more and ask in a friendly way what is happening in this young person's life? But also, ideally, a school should have a counselor that can help young people who are going through issues of bullying or cyberbullying to express themselves and also receive support to overcome the effects of cyberbullying. Lastly, as I think a nation, we have the laws in place, but the challenge is always implementation. So if our government can implement, I think it could be also a very good problem to step forward in combating this crime or issue. Yeah, thank you very much.